Hello, welcome to the Writing Gals live today, our first one of 2021. We're very excited to see what the year brings, what we're going to be able to talk about here, and hopefully we'll be able to build our audience and get more people here joining us on our lives. So be sure and tell your author friends that this is a cool place to come and learn about writing, marketing, and all the good things. Today, we're going to talk specifically about going wide. So that means instead of being exclusive to the Kindle, what is it? Not Kindle Unlimited. I mean, that's what it is to the reader. What is it called on Amazon? I'm having a brain freeze.
Kindle Select.
Kindle Select. Instead of being exclusive to Kindle Select, we're talking about going wide so that you can have your books available on multiple platforms. Before we get into that today, though, we're going to find out what everybody's doing because we always like to touch base with each other. So, Judy, why don't you start today?
Okay. So I have been, slowly writing my my book, The Charade, which you can see the lovely poster I have behind me to give me some inspiration. But yeah, I kind of took December easy. I decided I didn't go on a vacation this year. So this will be my vacation. My kids are home and I'll try not to be like, I should be working. So I've been taking it, being nicer to myself. But I finally set my official release date yesterday for May, which is, kind of far off, but I'm trying to get ahead of my publishing schedule so that when I do release that book, I'll hopefully be in the middle of another book and be able to write still, because I find that when I'm publishing a book, I have a really hard time writing for a long time just because it distracts me. And if I'm already in another book, hopefully that will just be fine and I'll be able to focus on that. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I'm starting to kind of start Facebook ads again, finally. Well, maybe not again. I've never really done that. So I'm trying that, and hopefully they'll be good. We'll see. But
sounds awesome. We have similar goals of trying to get ahead of our publishing schedule. So, how about you, Anne Marie? I know part of what you've been up to because I see it all the time on TikTok.
Yes, I'm having lots and lots of fun on TikTok. I have a recent video that is this video series all about kiss scenes, which I love, and dissecting those and how to write good ones and how to make sure that you're leading the reader on the way they should be and that you're not rushing anything. And it's very difficult to do in 60 seconds to really get into the details. So I'm having a lot of but hopefully it's leading people on to follow me so that they get notifications when the next video goes live. But I get a lot of questions about how to do this. And I was like, I just stay tuned. It's coming, but I don't have a lot of space to give all that information. So, but it's really fun. And
they should come watch our channel. We have a whole video on kissing.
And I do. I push people. I was like, check out the Writing Gals. Check out the Writing Gals. But I also feel weird because I'm like, I don't know how these people feel about other social media channels. Do people like Facebook? Do they like YouTube? I don't know. So it's kind of fun that way. But it's really exciting to find authors and readers and things like that over on TikTok. I'm really enjoying myself on that platform and making videos and forcing myself to write so then I can then make TikTok videos. And I also think part of TikTok is trying to find who you are and how you want to portray yourself to that community, because you spend a lot of times doing trends and jumping on different things and trying to figure out how to make it like yours. But once you figure out what can I offer this TikTok community, it's more exciting because then you know what you're going to do instead of be like, I don't know how to sell my book or interact with anybody on this platform. But it's also nice too because it's not so much like Facebook. You don't do scrolling. I mean, you can, but you can really cater your feed to what you want. I don't know, with Facebook right now and Twitter and all of the controversies and claims that are going up, I like being on TikTok because I can just see other author videos and I don't have to worry about anything else. So I do like that portion of TikTok. So I kind of live in my own little world on that platform. Anyway, so besides TikTok, I did start my next my next Red Stiletto Book Club series book. I actually got 5,000 words into it, and then I was halted because I added a character. I thought I was going to add a second character into that story, and I was starting to tell her story, but I didn't like it, and I was having a hard time feeling inspired to write because of that. And so I let it sit for a couple of days and then realized, this is not the time to tell that character's story. So I'm going back to the original one I wanted to do. And so I'm starting to write that book. So I'm excited. Today I'm taking the day to plot. But I think for 2021, a lot of my goal is self-care, taking care of myself, making sure I'm doing those things, making sure if I have to stop. I kept telling my husband, I'm like, I'm trying not to beat myself up because I did not write today. And he thought I said I didn't work today. And he's like, well, then what the crap am I alone with the kids for if you didn't work? And I was like, okay, no. I didn't write today. I did not write, not work. I worked. I did other things. But
I've had that same conversation with my husband. The same conversation.
yes. But I think we get in that headspace and we guilt ourselves the entire day. You didn't write. You're not good. You're not an author. You're going to get behind. I mean, like, if anyone else hears those voices in your head, that's totally 100% me. And so I've been trying to be like, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. You will write tomorrow. And knowing, okay, look at this. What is this right here? It's like I got the weirdest baby hairs and they're doing weird things. Sorry. And then being like, you know what? When you get inspired, that's when you write a lot. Like it. And if I had forced myself to write before I realized that this plot was not going to work, I would have had to throw away a bunch of words. So I'm really trying to take care of my mental health and my physical health and my spiritual health and my all those sorts of things to be like more mentally stable, because I have not felt. And I think with 2020, it kind of exposed some holes in my own mental health that I need to address. So anyways, that was really long. I'm sorry, guys.
Hey, it's been kind of a while since we've gotten on like face to face and chatted with each other. It's been since like, what was the third week of December since we talked like this?
Or something.
Must have just been on our messaging chain. So we're just kind of talking right now.
Yeah.
But I love hearing about it all.
This morning, I was given a video on YouTube. It's 10 minutes of meditation for those with anxiety. And I realized I have anxiety. I don't know if I have enough to warrant medication, but even just sitting there trying to meditate, I just get all these I kept getting these waves of nervousness and waves of agitation and waves of and I was like, yeah, I am a very anxious person. I want to be perfect. I want to have perfection. And just letting my body just relax and calm, I think was really helpful. And in it, that's when I came up with here's something I could do for a TikTok video, or here's where my plot's going wrong. Because I think if you're just so anxiously telling yourself you need to write, that anxiety builds up, your creativity is stifled. And so that's I'm taking those times. I'm not a huge meditator, but I'm this is something I probably do 10 minutes of the day. I can sit here and meditate just to kind of combat these anxieties. And not that I'm saying if you really have anxiety as a medical disorder, then medication 100%. I'm not trying to shame anyone for taking medication or anything, but that really helped me this morning in trying to clear my head and my mind and get myself where I need to be.
Yeah, I think for anything with anxiety, depression, ADHD, any kind of sort of neuro or emotional struggle like that, it's important to do all kinds of things, right? Not go to one answer, but to take care of your health. And, so I think meditation would be good for anybody. With my ADHD, I discovered 8D video, 8D music, 8-dimensional music. And somebody suggested it on TikTok, and you listen to it with earbuds in, and the sound is moving all over your brain. It feels like, and it's it's really cool. It's really, really, really cool. Anyways, Victorine, I know that you have been super jazzed about your story lately because you just seem like the happy writer right now, and I'm kind of jealous of you. That's what you're doing.
Yes, I'm working on my third Billionaire Club book, and super excited about it. It's a story where she's got this huge secret from him, and he's got this huge secret from her, and I can play with it because they both are kind of getting into this relationship, even though they have these big secrets. They can be a little more playful with each other than some of my other stories can, and so that's really fun for me to play around with that. And he's super flirty right now, and she's allowing it because she's a reporter and wants to get dirt on him. And he's a singer in disguise, and nobody knows who he really is. And so it's super fun, and I'm having a blast writing it. So
it sounds way fun.
And I'm playing around with my
I'm playing around with
this machine too. I've been playing around with my Cricut machine too, and making 3D cards that fold flat for mailing, but they pop out for sitting on your desk. It's so fun.
Hey, my birthday's coming up. You can send me a card.
There you go. Perfect.
Yes. Okay, so quick catch up on me. So I kind of had a similar problem with Amy where I needed to write and I just could not make myself. And I finally had a breakthrough with my story where I figured out what the problem was. And it's kind of tricky because it's my co-writing book. And so like I can't unilaterally go in and make any major changes, but I found the path forward for me to get my next chapter written. And so that was a major help for me. That was supposed to be like my side, get it done real quick project. And it kind of consumed me because it's Thursday and I was supposed to write 25,000 words on my other novel this week. And I've written 0 words on it. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to have a long weekend now. But it's funny because when you do have those breakthroughs, it's so empowering. And so even though I've maybe gotten like 1,500 words written this week, I feel so much better now that I figured that out. And so hopefully I'll get some more writing done because I'm trying really hard to get my next rom-com out by the end of the month. And I'm basically trying to finish all of my unfinished manuscripts that I had left over in 2020 and get them finished and get them published and get them like out and doing their thing so that I can move on mentally to some new exciting things I want to do. So hopefully last year I went through 2020, didn't publish until April, and hopefully I'll get like 3 or 4 books published before April this year. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that I didn't actually aspirate a boba pearl last night that will give me pneumonia in a couple of days. Because
my goodness.
And it's funny when you do something like that and you're like, oh, like you're thinking and looking up Google and Google makes you feel like, oh my gosh, you could get pneumonia. They might have to go and get it out and all this sort of stuff. And then the worst thing
you aspirated a what?
You know, like the boba drinks that have like the tapioca, the big fat.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, I was drinking. I made a version of milk tea with coconut herbal tea last night. It's just silly. And I was watching a K-drama and I sucked too hard on the straw and the tapioca pearl like shot to the back of my mouth. And I choked for a couple seconds. I was like all by myself and it's like sticky and slimy and like I was afraid to breathe in because I didn't want to like suck it into my lungs. Yeah. And I was trying to figure out what to do. And then all of a sudden it just like slid down and I think it slid down the wrong way. And anyways, my mom's more worried about it than I am. But seriously, like I'm okay. I'm breathing. I have like a little bit of a tight feeling in behind my sternum. Everybody's going to be like, what's wrong with the show now? But I'm in communication with my doctor. I'm fine. But anyways, the reason I mentioned it is it was just cracking me up that the one thing I was really worried about was my deadline. I was like, I can't get pneumonia right now because of this self-imposed deadline that doesn't really matter to anybody because nobody knows about it but me. But that's what I was worried about. I was like, why couldn't I have inhaled a boba pearl like next week? Why did I this week? Writers are crazy, y'all.
Have you seen those big plushies of boba tea?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to buy you one of those.
Okay.
Was it during a kiss scene? Is that why you sucked really hard?
It was actually. Well, it was during like an almost kiss scene, and I was sitting there like.
You were like.
I was watching True Beauty.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, we're so sorry, y'all. Okay, so we're going to talk about going wide, but I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. You guys are probably listening forever, like, oh my gosh, get to this topic for today. But we have a couple of things that I wanted to mention. One of them is that we are going to be putting out a new Writing Gals Discuss book, a new book in our series. We don't have a release date on it yet. I think we'll be getting it up for pre-order fairly soon, so you'll be able to see it. But this book is going to be The Writing Gals Discuss Crafting. Is it Great Kisses? Amazing Kisses? What did we say?
It's just crafting kiss scenes.
But you know, if it's for us, it's like amazing ones, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's right.
Amazing is like written in it.
Yeah. Understood. Anyway, so we're going to teach you how to write craft scenes with our next book. And we're also putting together some new author courses. So for people who are new writers and are really trying to learn the basics, we're going to put together some online video courses that you can take and work your way through some of the things that we really think that would be helpful for new authors especially. We get a lot of the same questions, a lot of the same kinds of requests for help and information. And so we wanted to have a constant go-to to point people to who are just looking for a way to start learning those basic skills of craft. So just stay tuned. We'll have a lot of those fun announcements coming up in the future.
And a conference this year too. So
Yes.
Stay tuned for that. We're doing another online conference this year, like last year.
Yes.
So if you got last year and you liked it, then tell everybody in our group how much you liked it. So they can come this year.
Yeah, and it's going to obviously be better because we're going to take everything that was good last year and keep doing it, and then take everything we can improve on and just make it better. So yeah, we're going to have so much fun just creating lots and lots of content for people to keep learning, keep growing, keep improving themselves in their careers, because that's what we're all about here, is just helping everybody to get further ahead with, what we're all trying to do is live the dream, right? Okay, and part of that living the dream for a lot of us was this big new world of going wide. Like, so many more people are starting to go wide for various reasons. Victor and I were talking before we got on here about how we were publishing before there was a KU at all. And that was the last time both of us were wide, was when there was no other option but going wide. And so Amy was the first one of the four of us to go out into that brave new world and start figuring it out. So she's got a lot of really great information to share for us. I am planning to take my first to market series, my Billionaire series, wide some point this year. So I'm really excited to learn. I think Victorine's talked about taking some of her wide possibly in the future. So we'll have a lot of questions for her. But if any of you have any questions about going wide, something that we're not talking about, something you specifically want to know, be sure to ask in the comments, and we will get back to you at the end. First of all, Anne-Marie, what was the first thing that you did when you decided to go wide? Like, how did you start making that happen or work towards that goal?
Well, I wanted to, let's see here. I published my first book wide. I took a lot of current books that I had and published them I took them out of KU, which is something you can do. You don't have to wait until your KU time is up. If you just call Amazon and say, please remove me, they'll take you out right there while you're sitting with them. And I think it takes like a couple hours and it's out. So that's really awesome. Another thing they told me is if you have a book you currently published or is on pre-order and you decide you want to take it wide, you can't take it out of KU once you're in pre-order, but you have 3 days once your book goes live, or 3 days once you approve to go into KU to pull your book back out. So I did use that as a tool for one of my series, because I had the last book in the series wide. I took the series wide, so the last book was in KU. So I used that as like a marketing ploy for my current KU readers. I said, hey, it'll be in KU for the next 3 days. If you want it in KU, download it now. If not, you're going to have to pay for it in 3 days. And I had a lot of people, I got page reads for that one too. But it was definitely scary to go wide, but I actually really, really like it now that I am wide. I don't do a whole lot on the actual platforms, the other platforms besides Get BookBubs, because I don't know how to yet. And I have to focus, or have to shift my focus where it's making me money. I still make the majority of my money on Amazon. But you guys, if you have a 250 page book, you're making $1 on KU on that book. That's it. You sell a $3.99 book on Amazon, you're making $2.99. Like, the difference in what you can make between KU and wide is, I was talking to my mentor the other day, and she's doing a lot of figuring out what my read through is and all this stuff. And I was like, wait. Why does that only say 88 cents? Because that is all I was going to make in KU on that book. And I was like, what the heck? Why am I only making 88 cents? That's insane. So so I didn't, and I honestly, I did not know that. Like, I didn't really break down how much do I make each book in KU until I saw it. And granted, we use a more conservative number to figure out our page reads, 0.004, because that way you're always going to be on the lower side than the higher side. But even then, I was like, that's just crazy. Considering that I advertise on both platforms, my profit margin is so much slimmer when you're talking about KU. So, but I really just wanted to try wide. I wanted to get that income right away instead of waiting for page reads to come in. I also wanted to get away from a rank obsession, because that's what I had gotten myself into. And when you're in KU, you have no other barometer to know if your ads are working or what. And so you become so rank focused, and rank does not equal income. I'm telling you this right now. It does not. And now that I am not focused on that, and I'm focused on my backlist, and I'm focused on, is this ad converting? Is this ad not? Am I making my money back? Am I making my money through read through? My whole mind and idea of what's a profitable ad, what's a profitable book, and even just the way I look at my books have completely changed now that I am not in, well, and I do have books in KU. I do have 3 series in KU, but I have all these other ones that are wide, and I really like those books.
So we have somebody asking a question that I think we could go ahead and answer now at the beginning of this conversation. So I'll just bring it over here real quick. Could you break down the KU lingo for new people like me and discuss what going wide actually means? Does this mean crossing genres? So Victorine, I'm actually going to ask you if you could go ahead and answer that question.
Okay, so when we say going wide, that simply means you're putting your book for sale on many different platforms rather than just on Amazon. So Sony, Kobo, iBooks, all those other platforms where you can sell it. That's what going wide means. Being in Kindle Select means you agree to only have your ebook for sale on Amazon. And this doesn't apply to print books at all. It's just to ebooks. And if you agree to only have your book available on Kindle, then they will put your book in the Kindle Unlimited library, which means people who purchase Kindle Unlimited, which is a monthly subscription, and they can download books within that subscription, kind of like Netflix for books, and they can read books for free if they have that subscription. You get paid per page read in that Kindle Unlimited thing. You also get a few other perks. You can go free for a limited amount of time for once every 3 months, and you can also do a discount thing that they do. But the big bonus, I think, is being in Kindle Unlimited if you want to do Kindle Select. So going wide just means you're not doing that. You are putting your book on all platforms, and Amazon will sell your book. You just don't get in the Kindle Unlimited library, and you don't get those extra perks.
Okay, and then Amy, can you go ahead and answer this question real quick?
So how do you go wide? Well, you just upload your ebook to certain platforms. When I first started going wide, and this is the pain in the butt that happens with wide, is a lot of people say to go direct to distributor, meaning you go to Kobo's site, you go to Nook's site. I do use iBooks through Draft to Digital. You can use Draft to Digital and upload all your books. You can upload it once, and Draft to Digital will upload it to all the sites, but you have to pay Draft to Digital 15%. And you don't get to get into some of these promos that you can if you are direct to distributor. I did not want to mess with how to figure out how to upload my book to iBooks, so I was like, you just take that. And I don't upload my books to Google Play because Draft to Digital doesn't do that, and I have no clue how to do that. So I'm like, and when I hear people talk, they don't make like any money on Google Play. So I was like, it's not worth it for me to try to figure it out, and that's just a giant headache. But you can upload your paperback to Nook, but you can't. They don't sell through Kobo, or that's Barnes and Nobles. They don't sell it through Kobo or iBooks. You just upload your ebook to it. So if you're somebody who's like, I don't have a lot of time on my hands, I'm just going to upload it straight to the distributor or to to draft a digital and let them figure that all out, then you can do that. I do take that extra time to do that to each distributor because I want to be able to make that a little bit extra money, plus have that ability to get into the promos that they have running. You can email them. They'll email their own people who are on theirs and as followers, say, hey, I have a book going on discount. Can you email? And they're like, oh yeah, we'll promo you for the month or something like that. I'm also going wide with my audiobooks, which is a whole nother thing too. So that way, if you go Amazon exclusive, and there's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with ACX and authors feeling gypped by ACX, which I really feel that way. But you can get onto Hoopla, you can get into libraries, you can get onto Chirp, which is actually not just a promo site. It's actually an audiobook distributor, which is through BookBub, but you can run Chirp deals and then they'll send out your book to all their followers. You have to be on Chirp to get a Chirp deal. So that's a whole nother can of worms that I'm just starting to open up because, and what was cool was as soon as I uploaded one of my audiobooks to this, and I uploaded on Findaway, and Findaway distributes it for me because I don't think there's ways you can go direct. And like within a week, I got an email from iTunes saying, hey, we want to promote your iBook or your audiobook for the month of January. So I think there's not a lot of people that are doing it. And so they're really like, I talk about being an early adapter. This is an early adapter type situation where a lot of indie authors are not in that area right now. And that they're going to really promote those that that start using these products and things like that. So I lost my train of thought. Yes, that's how you go wide. There you go. And what's cool is you can also sell it on your own website. You can sell ebooks through BookFunnel now. So you can make up a store on your own website. So if you're somebody like me who's starting to move into the TikTok area, send people to your website. They have now a face to a person to a product. So they feel much more inclined to buy a product from your website than if you are trying to cold call somebody or cold advertise to somebody that doesn't know who you are and you're trying to send them to your website to buy. So that way you can even make even more money because you just have to pay whatever BookFunnel. I don't know exactly how it works through BookFunnel, but you can actually sell your ebooks now on your own website as well as your own paperback. So that's pretty cool.
It's nice to have that third party to take care of all the transactional stuff for it, huh?
Oh yeah, and they do good for like helping people upload, and it's a really smooth process. I think it's pretty cool that they've started that.
Yeah, BookFunnel's awesome for that customer service aspect. Okay, let's see. Question for Anne-Marie. Oh, sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm muting. You read it.
When you advertise your wide books, do you put all your wide links in one ad in Facebook, or do you do lots of ads for each and just target those readers? I've done both. Now I really just target Amazon because that's, you know, my goal word or my word for 2021 is focus. Because I can get very distracted with a lot of different things. And if you're constantly thinking about these other platforms and you're not focusing on your big, you know, the big kahuna, which is Amazon, you're going to get a little bit, you know, wonky in your brain, or you're not going to be able to be as productive as you need to be. You can put the other other links in your ad. Right now, I just send everybody to Amazon. And what I've discovered is when I even put, if I target solely Kobo iBooks and Nook readers, I always get Amazon sales too. So that to me is really strange. So right now my focus is Amazon. Once I have like a base level and I'm looking at expanding myself on these wide platforms, then that's when I will start focusing on advertising these other platforms. But right now my biggest the thing I use the most is BookBub. I'm getting a BookBub because then I will see sales on that book for, you know, and all my books for time to come. Really, it wasn't until I got my first big BookBub that I now have I get about $1,000 a month from each of the platforms. Nook is the biggest one. And then there's Kobo, I don't make a whole ton on, and iBooks, I make a little bit more on iBooks. But obviously Barnes & Noble is the second biggest one that I make a ton of money on. But I'm not focusing because my goal is focus on one thing at a time. And right now that's Amazon. But you'll see like I think we, in our brains, we think, well, people don't want to buy my book, but people, if they want to read your book, they'll buy it. So I think we overthink things a little too much. I do have people on my ads who'll say, oh, it wasn't in Kindle Unlimited. And I'm like, nope, not right now, but it will come. And then I also say, but I do have other books in Kindle Unlimited if that's what you're interested in. But, you know, some people make complaints, but you know, that is the way it is. And it's still, my books are way cheaper than what you could buy a wide or a traditionally published book for. So I think people understand that, but like it's the price of a coffee in the morning. So I think we overthink it a little too much.
Okay, Kayla wants to know, do you have to buy ISBNs for each platform? So ISBNs are not by platform, they're by format of book. So if your book is an ebook and paperback, then you would have an ISBN for the ebook version and an ISBN for the paperback version. And that actually allows sales to be tracked across all platforms for each format that you have an ISBN for. What I don't know the answer for is if you use another platform such as Barnes & Noble, do you get a unique identification number from them like you do from Amazon? Or Amy, did you have to go and get ISBNs for everything?
I don't use my own ISBNs. I know some people, this would be a great question for the group because I do know there are authors that use their own ISBNs. If you don't have one, and you can't use Amazon ISBN on the other platforms, I think they're each individual. So I just Nook gives me a free one. And so I just use different ones. ISBNs, I really don't even understand what they are, but I think they're more for like categorizing and like libraries to be able to find your book. That is what I think they are for, but I'm still not 100% sure what an ISBN is, and I really don't want to pay hundreds of dollars for an ISBN.
Market-wide identification number.
Yeah,
so like if you're,
this is how many books I sold or something. It's like a tracking number.
It's really helpful if like you have a traditional published book, especially, and it's like on the shelves at Barnes & Noble and on the shelves at, you know, other bookstores, like indie bookstores that are ordering it on their own. And yeah, it would just help track across all platforms what you're selling. So if you go into the Amazon Author Central and you look at book sales, there's a way to actually look at by book how it's selling across the market. And obviously for me, mine don't sell anywhere because they're not available anywhere. But I think you can get that information in multiple places. So it's helpful for some things. Go ahead, Jeannie.
With your paperbacks though, do you, because I know like on Amazon's platform, they say you can have expanded distribution. Is that to other sellers or is that, so do you use that or do you upload paperbacks to each of the different wide platforms as well?
You have, if you want to sell paperbacks on Barnes and Nobles, you have to actually upload it there. So I don't think the expanded distribution on Amazon includes Barnes and Nobles because I don't think Barnes and Nobles would do that. I actually don't do expanded distribution on Amazon. I just sell directly because I don't think it does a whole lot, and I don't like not knowing where my books are going. So I don't do that, but other people might. And if you do, that's great for you. I just don't do that. And I would also point out when you're uploading a book to Wide and you're not 100% sure if that's where you want to be very careful the different platforms you put your book on. There are some platforms can take months to get your book down from. So there's a lot of tiny little places that you can put your book that really aren't going to make you a ton of money. So I really just am very focused on the places that I put them. I put them on the big ones. You can actually put your book in something that's Kobo, that's like Kobo Select. Ask around for other people who are Wide. I don't put my book in Kobo Select because I want that ability to just take my book down and be able to upload in KU if I want to, instead of waiting months and months for it to get off all these teeny tiny little sites that really aren't going to be making you a lot of money. So just that would be probably one of my biggest advices, especially if you're going to use Drafted Digital, because Drafted Digital will put you on everything. And I just don't like, if I don't know what it is, I don't want my book on it. And so I'm very particular about which category or where I place my books. So yeah, that answers that question.
Okay. Somebody pointed out the ISBNs are free in Canada. I actually don't know what they are globally. So for those of you who are like in the UK or Australia or New Zealand or all the fun places where we have author friends, then I don't know what your situation is there, but go for you, Canada.
I would ask though. Ask in the group and say, hey, if you're really thinking about buying ISBNs, ask people who have done it. Is it worth it? I would think that if you're trying to make like New York Times bestselling, you probably want an ISBN to match across all platforms. But I think ISBNs to me are more for physical books than they are for ebooks. And you can still hit USA Today without matching ISBNs. That doesn't.
Yeah, you don't
difference.
need it for New York Times either.
Okay.
I didn't. All they do with the ISBN is they associate who published the book. And so at the time that I hit the New York Times bestseller list, it said Create Space published the book. Since then, they've changed it to the name of the author instead of Create Space or Kindle Direct Publishing. And so if you do hit it, it'll say just your name if you don't buy an ISBN. If you buy an ISBN, then you can have your own made up publisher name there instead.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have another question. She wants to know, do you find it harder to market wide books, and what strategies work best for wide versus exclusive?
No, I don't find it harder to market wide books. I think you also have to know the type of reader you're reaching out to. Are you reaching out to a reader who's used to paying full price for books, or are you reaching out to readers that are used to Kindle Unlimited? I do try to run promo deals on my wide books at 99 cents and let my readers know that so they can grab it, because I do have KU readers. But I hope I have enough rapport with them that they're willing to buy my book. Because a KU reader, you might have a book that you love and you keep on your, in your KU library, and all of a sudden, like you return it because you think you'll be able to get it again, and they go wide. You don't have that book anymore. So when you purchase the book, you have it fully in your hands forever, and you don't have to worry about losing it. But you do have to pay a little bit more for advertising, but honestly, a book that is $2,000 in the store, that's $299 wide, is making about $250 to $300 a day, comparative to a book in KU at that same rank is making $100 a day. So there's a big difference in what you're making at a lower rank than at a higher rank. So to me, I'm allowed to invest more in advertising and catch those readers who are willing to purchase the book. I just released a KU book this Christmas because I was like, oh, I'm so excited to have a KU book. I don't have to worry. It's not going to be hard to launch. And it was a pain in the butt to launch. It was like trying to push, a rock up a hill through molasses. Like, I don't know. I thought it was going to be easier, and it was not. And maybe my whole philosophy about marketing and stuff has changed. But I was like, I could have probably released it in wide and not in KU and made more money than I did, especially with the ad spend that I was making. The other way positive about going wide is that you don't have to worry about KU reads coming in. People could download a book and not read it for a year. When you get someone download your book in wide, where they pay for it, you get that money right away. You don't have to wait for it. And then the other thing is Amazon ads are so much easier to use because you know what is working and what is not, and you can kill things that are not working instead of being like, well, maybe it's working. Same thing with my Facebook ads. All I have to do is look at my affiliate link and be like, oh, yep, it's working. I'm going to keep it, or nope, I'm going to kill it. So there's a lot of guesswork that comes out of advertising. And I think getting over the idea that I have to Kindle Unlimited, I have to have Kindle Unlimited to make the sale easier, I don't find it being a problem at all in trying to get people to convert.
So that
you have a higher threshold too.
So that was going to be one of my questions is, when you moved a series that had been in KU to wide, instead of like a new launch that went straight to wide, did you see a decline in your overall profit on Amazon when you took it wide?
No, because it wasn't really selling a ton at the time in KU, and it really wasn't making me a ton of money. And one thing is if you get people in who buy the book, they get used to buying the whole series from you, and you can actually start seeing better read through. And those types of things will go from one book to the next to the next. So yeah, no, I didn't see a decline in sales. If anything, I saw a boost because I was able to better use my advertising and my advertising money in a better way than just guessing and keeping the ad running, even though it wasn't profitable for me. So that was a huge benefit for me. But again, it also depends. I took my Sweet Romance Family Saga series and rebranded it as more just Family Saga series. And so I was advertising to more women's fiction. I changed the covers to look more like traditionally published books, so that those types of readers who are used to buying books would pick it up instead of, I think Sweet Romance is very, very heavily KU. However, I don't think that will stop a lot of people, but you're very heavily KU. And so you might have a harder time converting people. So you just kind of have to keep, how am I going to market this book to really catch those wide readers?
So just for people that might be wondering, this isn't necessarily the writing gal saying everybody needs to go wide. So like, we just want to present the information for those of you who may want to add this to your business strategy, or who is considering it. There's a lot of pros and cons to any way you decide to sell. So it's just really good to have a lot of information about all the different platforms and way to do it. For example, for myself, I'm looking at it because when I look, Amazon has on your KDP report now on their beta testing a pie chart to show you how big a percentage of your earnings are under which format. And I think it shows 80% of my earnings right now on Amazon are coming from Kindle Unlimited. So that would be like a really big, scary step for me to say, okay, I'm going to go wide when like massive amounts of my income is coming from the Kindle Unlimited program. However, I have 2 or 3 series on my backlist that used to make me a lot of money in Kindle Unlimited, but I feel like maybe have almost exhausted their readership in the Kindle Unlimited program, because people who have the Kindle Unlimited program have pretty much probably read my book if they're going to some degree, especially since I've had a lot of free days on them. So for me, it's a way of refreshing and opening possibilities and doors for those older series. So that's why I'm considering taking them onto a different platform, because like Amy said, I'm not making much money on those series anymore. So I'm not going to see a huge decline in my profit to try and take it off. Go ahead.
I want to point out too. Oh, go ahead.
I was just to say, for me, like, I could maybe finally get a dang book bub. I have not gotten one of those yet. Like, I want one.
Yeah, it does make it easier to get a book bub because they do want to promote it to their readers on the different sites. I would say this question popped up at the beginning. As a new writer, is it better to go wide or Kindle when you're unknown? I would suggest going Kindle Unlimited because the barrier to entry is a lot smaller. You have to also keep in consideration, if you have a wide book that you price at 99 cents, you are only making 35 cents and there's no chance of page reads to help. So even though you make more money at full price books with wide, if you want to run or have a book that's 99 cents and in KU, you're not going to get that extra boost with KU Read. So you really have to figure out what's going to be your marketing strategy with wide. The other thing is that I went wide because I have a large marketing budget. I can spend that extra money to push my book higher than somebody else that might not have that type of budget, because you have to think you have a higher price point that you can market or you can pay to get that click, to get that conversion. But it might be easier and less money to get the KU click, download, and read. So if you really don't have a huge marketing budget, you have to keep that in mind. How are you going to sell it and how are you going to push it? Just putting a book up wide on Amazon is not going to sell your book. You have to have a plan in place. So I would suggest to go, if you're just starting to write and you're unknown, I would do a whole series in Kindle Unlimited. It's easier to find, it's easier to find swaps. It's easier to find new readers. And then like what I did was that I didn't take a brand new book wide, except for a Christmas book. I took a whole old series, repurposed it, and put it in wide. So there's definitely a strategy to that. A lot of people I know that. And then you'll have people like Jillian Dodd or Mark Dawson who were 100% wide and then has since moved into KU. So you don't have to be one or the other. You can very much fluidly move in between the two of them and decide what you want, what's working for you.
So one thing I wanted to mention before we move on to some other questions is when you talk about how much more you make on a sale versus on a like people reading a book through the Kindle Unlimited program. So that's something that probably catches a lot of people's attention, and it's very, very true. One thing you do have to consider when you're thinking about the pricing, though, is that, for example, Walmart, because I'm in Walmart country, the reason Walmart got so big and blew up all over the country was that their strategy was price as low as you can get and sell as much as you can. And it's kind of the same concept, because their profit margin on everything that you buy in Walmart is so microscopic. Like, all their other competitors have a much bigger profit margin on anything they sell. But Walmart sells so much of it that they still are by far and away making more money than any other retailer. And Amazon does a lot of the same thing. Amazon definitely loses money on its Prime program in a lot of ways because of shipping and all this sort of stuff, because they're making their money in other ways. So it's one of those things where you have to understand that the Kindle Select, the Kindle Unlimited library, if you were to separate it from Amazon as if it was two different entities, the Kindle Unlimited library is the second biggest bookstore that exists. Okay, so it would be Amazon, and then it would be Kindle Unlimited, and then it would start being some of these other platforms. And so by not being in Kindle Unlimited, you're cutting yourself off completely from the second biggest market in the book selling industry. So yes, you will make less on downloads, but there's a huge market of people who read ravenously and get a lot of books read quickly. And so you make up that difference in what you're earning per book, hopefully, on sheer volume of people reading it. And so that's why you can still make a lot of money in Kindle Unlimited, even though your price per book read is lower than book sales. And so that's just another one of the factors you have to add into it when you're considering all this. All right, let's see here. See, here's somebody whose name we can't see, who says they were scared to move out of KU because so much of it, their income was from KU, but they're making more on Amazon from sales than she was in KU. So it's really much like your mileage may vary kind of thing, very much dependent on the author and what you are advertising, where your readers are, what your readers want to do. So all of us need to just like really focus on discovering what we want to do. Okay, so Anne-Marie, when you mentioned tracking your affiliate links on ads, are you using links from being part of an affiliate program for each platform?
So I'm only part of the Amazon affiliate, and you're not technically supposed to use it in your ads. So I'm using that until they kick me out of it, because I want to know my ads. What I don't have affiliate links for the other platforms. And I just kind of have a baseline of what I'm making over like a 14-day period. How many downloads did I get? And then if I see an increase, then I know that ad is working on those platforms. But again, I don't really focus on advertising on the other platforms because Amazon is the biggest bookseller, right? Like ever. Even the percentage of my income, it doesn't even compare. So when I'm starting to want to grow my income, that's when I will start looking on all these other platforms. But right now, I still just need to figure out my Amazon selling game before I can move to the other platforms. Okay.
Is it worth it to make paperbacks and audiobooks wide without the ebook?
Oh yeah, you can start a Barnes and Noble's account, and you can upload your paperbacks there, sell them there. And I'm just starting to dip my toe into wide audiobooks because I don't like how. So my philosophy into the wide audiobooks is you make 45% of your money on. Well, it was 40% before they changed it on audiobooks through Audible or through ACX. And if you are not exclusive, you only make 25%. Well, if I'm only making $7.50 on my audiobook, I'm really not out losing a whole ton of money, but it opens up a whole lot of other places to upload my book. Now, if they were giving the author 70% of it, then maybe I would stay exclusive, but I don't find that to be worth it to me. And I'm willing to forfeit that 15% if that means I can grow on other platforms. I can be in libraries, I can be in all these other places that I want to be. And I really didn't like how Amazon was treating its authors, because you have to be the one to produce it. You're the one that has to pay for all of that. And then they take such a huge cut. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and especially with their horrible return program where they were allowing readers to return books that had been fully read and
forever,
as many
whenever
times as
they
they
wanted
want.
to.
So basically, people who
And they
figure out,
took the money from the author,
Yeah.
not from Amazon.
right?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So
So that's why I was like, nope. And I think Amazon felt it because I think a lot of authors started jumping ship. But what's ridiculous though is I texted or I emailed the ACX and I was like, please remove my books from exclusivity because you're exclusive for them for 7 years, but after a year you can request that it get taken out. And I don't know what happened, but they started thinking I wanted them to take all my audiobooks down. And I was like, what? No, I just want you to take me out of exclusive. I don't want you to take me out of Audible. Like it was a giant mess that had to get dealt with, but it's okay now. But you know, I think knowing what really the rules were, I didn't know the rules on Audible or ACX, and now that I do, I'm just like, why do they get it for 7 years? And maybe if they produced it, but they're not doing anything. They're just literally the platform. I talk to my audiobook producer on her own. I pay her outside of ACX. So I don't know why Amazon feels they have a 7-year right to your audiobook. It just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, I think that the whole audiobook it's really awesome that we now have a way to make and publish audiobooks ourselves, because my first 2 audiobooks were through Tantor because they reached out to me, and that was for a while I think one of the few ways that you could get an audiobook made. But then ACX opened it up for indies to be able to do it themselves. But it's a whole part of their publishing branch that they have a lot of things to fix, I think. And one of them is their transparency, with making sure that, for example, if authors do get returns, that they're able to see that they got a return, because right now authors have no idea if how many, you can go on and see that you've made this much money, but you don't know if you sold twice as many books and half of them were returned, because they don't give us those numbers. Like on KDP, you can go in and see if you've gotten returns on books. So I think there's just some things, and back in the day, because I've been doing this since 2008, Amazon's Kindle publishing program has definitely gone through a lot of growth and changes, a lot of rule changes, a lot of policy changes. It happens all the time. So I really think the ACX is going to continue to hear from its authors on a lot of these things. They're going to hear about how long it's exclusive and all this stuff that authors aren't happy about. And I think that there will start being some changes. So everybody just keep being vocal and letting Amazon know what you want. Let's see here. How big was your backlist before you hopped out?
I had a like 765 series, something like that. It was pretty big. I've only been wide for 2020, where I've had series that are wide for 2020.
And not completely wide. So you didn't hop out completely. You just hopped out with.
No, yeah, I have series that are wide. Hold on, or that are still.
So here's a question. Maybe Judy, you want to answer this one or start with the answer for it. If most of your money comes from KU, what are the benefits to going wide?
Book club. I don't know. That's what I said.
Judy's like,
I'm all about the book club. No, I really, for me, something that's really tempting is just finding a different audience that you haven't already reached before. Like I write young adult, and a lot of young adult readers buy paperbacks on other platforms or even ebooks. And so it'd be nice to just maybe give that a shot. And then also what's really appealing to me is actually having the real numbers of how my ads are working, because with them being in KU, I can't really tell if I got a download from that. And, if someone read the full book, are those page reads from them reading the full thing, or are they from, 10 people reading little bits of it? So just having the actual raw data would be awesome. So.
I also like that with wide, your pre-orders are a lot stronger. You get a lot more pre-orders, so you can know if your series is doing well. Because if people bought the first book, then they're not waiting for KU; they'll just buy the second book. So that's another benefit of going wide. But you don't get the rake spike. when your book first download or drop. So you have to keep that in mind too. You're not going to get, Amazon's not going to send out an email saying, hey, this is live, and then everybody goes and downloads it through KU. So there's, you kind of you have to have a different mindset for launching than you do other books. And it's the same thing, like launching later series in the series books. I will probably no longer push my later in the series books anymore to try to get a high rank. It'll always just be, I'll go back to book one and run promos and ads and push people into book one and then push them through the series. So my whole idea has changed a lot, because it doesn't make sense for them to send them to book 4 when they're just going to go to book 1 to buy that one anyways. So definitely retargeting will help, but not pushing that one.
So to answer the same question, I'm going to see if I can share my screen here a little bit for just a second.
I do want to say while you do that, as somebody just said, I'm interested in going wide, just to say that I don't have my whole income dependent on Amazon's whims. That's very true. A lot of people use that as a reason to go wide because they don't want to have to, what happens to Amazon. However, if something happens to Amazon, the whole world's going to the crapper. So, I mean, being on Nook or being on iBooks is not going to save you. If Amazon goes down, you're all going down. So just keep that in mind as well. Like, people have a lot of feelings about Amazon, but Amazon is what makes authors' careers. So you have to be kind to Amazon and nice and patient with Amazon. I do like the idea of supporting smaller companies and trying to push smaller companies and help them grow bigger. But Amazon is such a big player in this that if that's going down, but I do know people who make what they're making on Amazon, they make on the other platforms. So it just kind of depends where you're pushing, but really Amazon is going to be your biggest seller.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the market we have today if we didn't have it. Okay.
Oh yeah, changing payout percentages. Yeah.
Is that showing up, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I wanted to share my pie chart here with you. This is my earnings from last year. So yes, I'm making 80% of my money on Amazon, but as you see, like, it's most of my new books. So the newer my books are, the more I'm making on them, right? And all of my old books are just these teeny, tiny little pie slices. And so it makes sense for me to look at where my earnings are coming from and say, you know what? I am not making much money on all of these older series in Kindle Unlimited anymore. So that's why I am not looking at moving my new books into wide yet. Like my new rom-com series, it's still doing fantastic for me in Kindle Unlimited. Now, eventually, I do think that series would do really well wide. And so I do plan to move it wide at some point. But right now, I'm doing really well there. So I'm going to focus on my backlist. Now, at some point, I might write a series that I think would do better wide after I've learned that how to sell books that way, and after I have a bigger ad budget. Because right now I don't have much of an ad budget, so I can't support doing wide marketing like I think I would need to get the same kind of launch that I have in Kindle Unlimited. So for the foreseeable future, I really think that I will be focusing on launching in Kindle Unlimited and reaching my readers there, because I have been growing my newsletter and my fans and promoting Kindle Unlimited to them. I'm like, if you want to read my book for free, get a Kindle Unlimited subscription. To me, like, that's one of the things I've been doing. So, but yeah, I hope that seeing that pie chart with the differences in my old books versus my new books would show you one reason why going wide is looking more and more attractive to me on some of my series.
Hey, Michelle, I can share my screen too with what I made in 2019 versus 2020. If you want me to do that real quick. Let me see how I can do that. Share screen, application window, no, Chrome tab. Here we go. Okay, so this is what I did. Can you guys see that? So this is my 2020. And you can see that not only did I increase in ebooks, so ebooks are the red, and then the blue is KU. So I still have about $8,000 that I'm making in KU at the end, like at the middle of the month here, or middle of the year. But majority of my income is coming in from actual ebook sales. And then even my paperbacks have picked up. Let me change it to 2019. Oh, my computer's being super
Y'all are
slow.
getting some numbers today. Like, we always like to share numbers.
So here you go. Now this is 2019. The difference, it flipped, right? Majority of my money is coming here was coming from KU, where my royalties were coming in. This is when I had wide books. This is when I started doing wide books, and it flipped there. And even my paperbacks picked up in this most recent year than last year. So, I mean, that's really the difference to me, or how that changed for me and how it flipped for me.
Yeah.
I would be interested to see like the number of books I actually sold in 2019 versus 2020, and if that, how much that had a difference in my income.
Yeah. And I remember, guys, I mean, we were all Amy's support team here when she was first going wide, and it was nerve-wracking for a while for her because she didn't know how it would turn out for her. She, you know, she was definitely taking a big risk to do it. And so it's something that is probably going to be scary for anybody who tries it for a while, but you know, you just got to keep learning, keep pushing, keep trying, you know, to make it work. Somebody here, obviously,
I would say,
successful. Go ahead, Victorine.
I would say don't put everything in wide and then freak out in a week and pull it all back. Mm-hmm. Let it sit. Be okay with, oh no, my numbers are dropping. You have to step back, breathe, and just let your marketing switch over to the other kind. You can't freak out. It's going to take a little while to adjust to it.
Yeah.
I would say that is huge. And I remember talking to them when I first started going wide. I was like, why did I do this? What am I thinking? What did I do? But I was like, but that's why I took I took a series that wasn't my main series that was making me a ton of money. And I was like, because if it doesn't go well, I'm not going to be out a ton of money and I can bring it back in. So if you are nervous about it, that's why taking an older series that's not making a whole lot of money and moving it in. If you take out your biggest selling series and you move it wide, you're going to have a couple of months where you're still figuring out advertising. You're figuring out how am I going to sell a wide book, all those things. And that could be a huge dip in your income. I do think it can come back up and you stay more steady. I think when you are wide instead of KU, you have less rank drops, you have less drops in income. You can find that groove a little easier, but it does take time and you have to figure it out.
Yeah. I wanted to show this real quick. This comment is more of them changing their payout percentages. So that is always, you know, really frustrating for the authors to wait to see how much Kindle Unlimited is going to pay per page read because it does fluctuate. And especially if you have a lot of pages, that slight drop, I mean, 0.045 to 0.044, it doesn't seem like it would make much of a difference, but it can make hundreds or thousands of dollars of difference for people. So yeah, it's a big deal. But really, and Victorine always preaches this, and I see a few other people too, if you go back and you look at the percentage that they pay out every month over time, you see that it has always fluctuated. It dips up and down, it goes up and down. And so much of it has to do with how many people are in the program, how many people are sending in their $10 subscription fee. If Amazon has just run a promotion to get to give free Kindle Unlimited subscriptions for 2 months or 3 months, especially at around Black Friday when people are buying Kindles, what happens is you have a flood of readers into the program and you don't have any more money coming into the program. So Amazon takes the total pot of how much money is paid in for the subscription, and they take their part and then they take what's left and they figure out how many pages were read total and figure out what that breaks down to, you know, per page. And then they give each author their share of those pages. So basically, if you have 200,000, just to grab a number, people who get a free Kindle Unlimited subscription for 3 months, and they're reading books and reading pages like mad because they're just finding this library and reading a book a day, that's going to way inflate the number of pages without adding anything to the pot. So that's one of the reasons it can dip down, and that might make authors really upset until you realize that also means that there are 200,000 more people that Amazon has just pulled into the program that hopefully like it so much that they stay there. So so that's just something that we all just kind of have to ride the waters on. I really don't think Amazon is trying to gyp us out of money every month by lowering the percentage. That's just how the program works. So,
well, and you're also at the mercy of authors who are not being honest and Kindle correct too, which I think to me is more frustrating than Amazon and what they do. People who are stuffing books or people who are And, you know, you can think Amazon's doing that, but I think when they do, they really have to get a lot of good data before they kick people off, which is why if they kick people off, I don't feel bad. Like, you were doing shady things, you should, because when you do something like stuff your book, it affects every other author out there.
So what she means by stuffing a book is there are people out there trying to scam the system and get more page reads for people opening a book. So what they'll do is they'll put in, they'll have, like, for example, 6 stories, and they will put all 6 of them in one book under one title. And then they'll do the second book and add all the same books to the same title. But, you know, so they're basically recycling all the stories among 5 or 6 different titles. And you think you're buying 6 different books, but you're really buying the same 6 books 6 times. And readers who download that, they think that they just like, well, I've read the story, and they keep flipping through and flipping through and flipping through until they get, and they're like done with it. So they don't have a good reading experience, which is why Amazon doesn't like it. And it inflates page reads, which makes all the other authors mad. So don't be that person. Don't be that crooked criminal person breaking the rules and ruining life for other authors. Okay.
Because once you get kicked off Amazon,
totally get cut.
Yeah, you can lose. Like, if they catch you, you will not only get that book taken down, you will lose your ability to ever publish on Amazon ever again. So
being wise does keep you out of all of those legality things that could get you in trouble.
Yeah, that's true. So I
just don't do it.
Yeah. One thing about Kindle Unlimited that's tricky is you really do need to read all the policies associated with it, because there are a lot of rules. And if you break the rules, Amazon can take you out of the program or take your account down. And it's really kind of scary. And I was helping a new author friend actually last night when I realized that she wasn't aware of one of the rules. And so it's because there's just so much. There's so much to learn about Kindle Unlimited. Okay. I'm not sure what this question. So it's going why what flipped out Emery? What did you do to flip it?
I think they were asking about my income from KU to ebooks, and it was going wide because people are not downloading my KU. They're not reading me through KU. They were actually having to purchase the ebook. Mm-hmm. That helps. And I think you get a different type. Yeah.
What are you waving at?
I have a question. Just when you're done talking, ask me my question.
Oh, Victory, what's your question?
Okay.
I thought you were waving it so when you could see it. I was like, what?
I thought so too, but like looking at her computer, it's not someone behind her.
It's a hypothetical question, okay? So if an author for some reason gets kicked off of Facebook advertising,
there's a friend of mine
and they can't do it anymore. Is it most of your wide income coming from Facebook ads, or are they coming from AMS ads, or both? Or is it stupid to go wide if you can't advertise on Facebook?
No, I definitely would say if you are wide, Amazon is going to be Amazon ads are going to be the most helpful. I honestly think I am using Facebook ads, but I'm pulling a lot farther back from Facebook ads. And I keep getting this message in Facebook saying that Amazon or iPhones are changing their something or other, and that's going to impact how ads are shown. I don't speak computer phone jargon, so I don't know what that means. But I would say you have BookBub you can use, which are good for wide books because you can hit those iBooks, you can hit those Kobo people. But Amazon ads are really, I think, going to be what is going to be good for you. So if you want to go wide and you can't do Facebook ads, don't let that stop you.
I've also heard from people that BookBub ads do really good for people who are wide, which is what I'm actually super interested in checking them out because I've heard they're not as difficult to manage and run. I don't know if they're as effective as Facebook ads, not Amazon ads.
I think they're effective. However, you can blow through a audience faster. That's the problem with BookBub ads. But that's another thing on my list to help, when you want to excel your education. Accelerate. Oh my goodness. Accelerate when you want to grow, level up your income. That's where I was going. You really have to start using these different advertisers. My mentor is actually going to start doing some Google ads for me as well. And then there's YouTube ads that you can do too. So if you get kicked out of Facebook, they're not the only one. Instagram, but I guess you have to have a Facebook account to do Instagram ads. Pinterest ads, people are starting looking too.
I want to start playing with Pinterest ads. And I don't know if, like, I went through a lot of money at it, but just to play around with it, because I actually have been building up a pretty good audience on Pinterest for a long time, and I get a lot of like daily and monthly views across my boards, and I have boards up there for like all my books and a book board of just my books, and there are ways to advertise on Pinterest too, and it, like $5 a day or $10 a day, I mean, just to see what it does, because there are still a lot of users over there. So it's just interesting.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know that it necessarily work for Kindle Unlimited as well on Pinterest as it would wide, so.
Well, somebody asked about TikTok and selling on TikTok, and I don't do paid ads on TikTok. I make my books about my videos about my books, or I find a way to advertise them. I'm actually taking like a super dead series, and then that is what my focus is with TikTok, because I want to see, well, how much is this going to influence? And when you hit 1,000 subscribers on TikTok, you're allowed to put a link in your bio that leads people to my a page on my website, so they can go and look at all my books and stuff there. So that's how you would do it. You would get people interested enough to click your books. Even Michelle posted something in a video that did really well, and at the end it had the image of her book, and she had people asking where they can buy that book. So this is a non-paid way to be able to promote your book and get readers. And if you don't want to send them to Amazon, a lot of the authors that are there are selling a lot of paperbacks straight out of their website. People asking, can I get signed copies? I was on a live and someone bought one of my books, my box set, my paranormal romance box set on the live, and they just paid me through PayPal. So it's about getting your brand out there, your image out there. You do want to be careful that you don't get on the wrong TikTok. So don't get on like TikToks that aren't going to be interested in your books. Because it's an algorithm, and they're going to say who's watching your videos, and if that person's watching your videos and that person watches your videos, then they're going to start saying, oh, I got to show them to that person. But if it's not on that person, like sometimes one person's like, I don't know what happened, but I got on gay TikTok. I need to not be on gay TikTok because that's not what my videos are about. Or someone else is like, I'm on kink TikTok, which is apparently something they're trying to start taking down. And so like you got to be careful what you
TikTok.
You got what?
Cast iron skillet TikTok.
Cast iron skillet.
I didn't hear you.
TikTok. Cast iron skillet TikTok. There's a TikTok community.
I was on ASMR TikTok where it's all like everybody just going or making those noises or like crinkling noises. They're supposed to be like super soothing.
Yeah, I'm trying really hard not
funny to be, video TikTok. That's me.
I'm trying really hard not to be like my super, super, super attractive self on TikTok, because I just don't need like people falling in love with me. I need them falling in love with my book. So I think I'm doing pretty good there.
I don't have that problem either. So, I think when you're an author too, when you first get on TikTok, you're like, oh, I'm going to go and connect with all the other authors, which is great. But not a lot of authors are buying books from authors. So you kind of have to make sure that you know kind of where you need to be. But if you're in the book writing, book consuming TikTok, that's probably better than being over in like kink TikTok or like cast iron skillet TikTok.
Unless you're writing like sexy romance novels, then you might want to go to
author. Then TikTok might be where you want to be. Or if you write LGBTQ, then that might be, you might definitely want to hook up with those communities. So it's definitely like whatever your focus is. I'm still trying to figure out how to find the sweet romance people.
They don't exist.
Because they don't really exist on TikTok. We're trying to build them. But
and the thing is, you need
old lady TikTok.
I know. Well, I read the old lady TikTok. So
there are old women on there, okay, Victorine? There are old women TikTok and older than you. So
Grandma Sandy on there. My kids love her.
I think I'm gonna be fit. I'm gonna who?
Grandma Sandy. She makes like ridiculous.
There's some awesome old women, like older women on there that I'm like, when I am a grandma, I want to look like you and act like you. Can I be like you?
So I really, really am enjoying. There is a great ADHD community on there. There's a great curvy girl community. And so like it's interesting because curvy girl stuff does fit in with my book series a lot, you know, and since I am a curvy girl, you know, I can go on there and connect with those people and connect with that community. And then hopefully if, you know, they follow me, they'll know that I don't only like live the life of a curvy girl, but I write about them too. And so that's kind of like, you're just trying to build real connections over there. And I think that is the important thing, is building connections with the people that you think are going to relate to your books and what you write over there. And I do think that Book Talk, which is where all the readers are hanging out, they do tend to kind of favor paperbacks and hardback books to a degree, but I see a lot of Kindle readers over there too. So I don't know. We're kind of like all TikTok crazy. We kind of like, Amy was like, Michelle. And me and Judy, I think Judy was on it before we were.
Yeah, I've been on it since last spring. But I don't I just have fun on there. That's all. I'm not there I didn't start trying to like promote books. I just wanted to have fun. So.
But we do kind of want to promote our author education platform on TikTok a little bit, because we would love to grow that. Victor's probably like, what? I see you get restless. I know we're going way over time, aren't we?
That's okay.
I mean, you're having our own conversation in the chat, so.
Yes.
But yeah, I think with TikTok, you also have to think about, you know, there's going to be authors. Book Talk is also a lot of fantasy, a lot of traditionally published authors or readers that are on there. But I also have to think like there's actually a hashtag called Moms of Book Talk. So that's a hashtag that I use a lot, because I think, who is the community that you're trying to attract? And it's going to, like, if I'm writing YA, if I do something YA romance, I make sure to use that hashtag. If not, then it's the moms. And they're probably not on there looking for books, but you can catch those people as you like, they find your funny video. And then I have a lot of people who are like, go to my page, and they're like, oh my gosh, you write books, I love this book. The best feeling in the world though is when people go, oh my gosh, I know where I knew your name, I binged your books before. I'm like, no way. Like, that's the best feeling in the world, when people tell you that they didn't even find you on TikTok yet, they binged your books previously. So that's awesome.
Maybe next week we should do a show on TikTok.
Yeah, we just
this is basically half TikTok, half wide.
I know, we talked TikTok at the beginning, and we're talking TikTok again. We should take the episode and like cut it into 2 sections and put them into 2 different episodes on our channel. So, anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not that good with technology. So
well, the thing is we keep having like 30 people watching us, so we're like, apparently what we're saying is important enough that people.
We're not boring you yet, because you're not going anywhere. Oh, we just had someone else join. So see, like, we could just keep talking all day, and people can like cook their dinner, fold their laundry. But Victory looks like she has somewhere to go. So
I have my word count to get in. I only wrote a few.
Well, my kids just got home from school, so things are about to get crazy around here. So it's time to get off. So anyway, I hope that today's episode was super, super helpful for you if you're considering going wide, or maybe it just made you think about a few things differently. So we would love to have you guys, if you're not already part of our Facebook group, to go and join there. See, kids are home from school. We plan to have lots of really awesome podcasts this year, but we're going to possibly be changing some of our formats and what we're going to be doing, trying some new things, being fresh around here. So just stay tuned, because it's not going to be just these long-winded conversations that we have. We're going to do some other things too. So be sure to click subscribe if you're not already, and click the bell if you want to be notified when we are on, because we do have these fun live conversations a lot. So thank you for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.